podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
So, I said on the show last time that for some reason, Derby away in the FA Cup, not this most recent one, but the one before, was randomly a game I absolutely wished I was at. I have to say, today was much less randomly a game I absolutely wish I was at. The general consensus seems to be the best Old Trafford atmosphere for as long as a lot of people can remember.
Helps when you're winning, doesn't it? Especially against City.
Joyous, absolutely joyous result, and the perfect.
Never in doubt. We beat them every week.
It's the perfect crescendo. That McTominay goal, just an absolutely perfect way to rip the roof off Old Trafford.
So you still believe this wasn't a very important game then? Didn't really matter whether you won or lost. Just checking.
Just wasn't the end of the world if we lost, is all. But absolutely delightful. And ultimately, like, in a lot of ways, I thought kind of a good performance. And we'll get to the nitty gritty of the performance and the goods and the not so goods and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, it's just really, because we do a podcast where we analyse stuff, but sometimes it's just nice to be a football fan, isn't it? And just be like, oh, it's good. It's good when your team beats the team that are the baddies.
They are the baddies. And we beat them. I mean, Pep would make a good baddie, don't you think?
Yeah.
Sitting there, stroking his tactics book.
Getting shushed
no, by... Mr. Bond.
Getting shushed by... No, Mr. Fernandez, I expect you to die. And Fernandez giving it the old shh, settle down. Very, very enjoyable, that was.
So, shall we talk through some of the spectacular performances amongst the United players? I mean, probably none more spectacular than Wan-Bissaka's absolute destruction of Raheem Sterling should just retire now.
Raheem Sterling is so good at football. Like, he is, I mean, he's not having the best season he's ever had, but he's an absolutely brilliant footballer. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka is so good at defending. So Palace had a chant for him, which went, your wingers won't like him. Wan-Bissaka. And I have to say, it's a shame we're generally against appropriating chants from other Premier League clubs for our players that we sign them from, because that is such a fitting chant for Wan-Bissaka, because your winger won't like him. Like, it must be horrible to play against someone who is so good at tackling.
So good, they should have named him Bissaka. I stole that joke, by the way.
Okay, right. It was a good joke. It was very, very solid. I mean... Sterling just could not get past him. Time and time again, I thought he was past him, and then the tackle came in. I mean, he didn't do a great deal going forward in this game, Wan-Bissaka, but he didn't have to, and he provided such an important platform for the players who did get forward.
Right, yeah. Brandon Williams down the left got forward a lot more and tired as a result, I think. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka was just imperious defending, and that side of the ground, that side of the field was just completely locked up and gave a lot of security to all the defenders around him. There was a moment late in the game when Harry Maguire got out of position, and it looks like from one angle, Maguire's miraculously got back to get the tackle in. But it wasn't Maguire. Maguire got nowhere near it. Wan-Bissaka came out of absolutely nowhere to wrap his foot around the City attacker and get the tackle in.
And I have to say, like, there's been a lot of conversation earlier in the season about how we did last summer. And I think Maguire didn't have his best game today, but he's grown massively as the season's gone on. And Dan James, I think it's pretty clear to see he's a squad player and one for the future who's been thrown into the side by circumstance. But Wan-Bissaka is just, especially as his attacking performances have improved, He's just an unadulterated, super, super high quality signing. And I have to say, like, at the risk of some what would be for me extremely standard hyperbole, one of the best signings we've made for years.
Well, look, he's had a perfect season. How old is he? 21, 22? He's still super young. So he's got plenty of room to grow into those skill sets that we know are his weaker points. Mm-hmm. Defending, he just time and time again, he makes these last ditch tackles or just defends really well 1v1. I mean, there was the old adage that defenders who go to ground a lot are making up for some kind of deficiency. I just think this is his skill. You know, he just times tackles so well. And sure, he in the modern game, he could add more going forward, and he is adding more going forward, and he didn't need it today, or he couldn't get forward as much today because United had 30% possession, and that was today's performance. But he's an outstanding defender. It'll be an interesting choice for Gareth Southgate, whether he takes him to the Euros this summer or not, because you'd think so. I mean, Alexander-Arnold would, you'd think, be the number one, but Liverpool play in a very specific way, which England cannot. England cannot, he's used as a creative midfielder, basically, who happens to play at right back. So, and I mean, Wan-Bissaka's going to, in those games where England playing better teams, he would be a very, very safe choice. Anyway, I don't want to talk about England too much, but he was outstanding today. But Williams was very good until he just looked like he was getting tired.
He took some stick as well. Like, he took one really nasty tackle, which I thought had quite. I think it was from maybe Rodri. Which I thought had quite an impact on him, sort of suddenly tiring, understandably. And I actually thought it was tactically quite interesting that Luke Shaw got forward all the time from left centre-back. And the two of them both went forward. And I wonder if that was partly one of the reasons why Wan-Bissaka got forward so little. It was actually a deliberate tactical move to say, we're going to try and create overloads on this side. And City have got such a threat from the other side that we'll hold back, kind of trying to double up on overloads on either side.
Sure. And then in central midfield, Fred and Matic they didn't get a lot of the ball, so they weren't creating much, but defensively, very, very good and gave United a solid base. And I think one of the things that was so interesting, although City had a lot of possession, how many saves did David De Gea have to make that weren't absolutely routine? I mean,
maybe,
one where he dived to his left and kept one out.
Yeah, the Gabby Jesus one where he fired it in and Dave kind of scooped it into a slightly dangerous error, but turned out fine. And there was one long shot from Phil Foden, which was a slightly above routine save, but not that far above
0.59 XG for City today on 70% possession.
Amazing.
I mean, 0.59. I haven't got the data to hand. I don't think they'll have had 0.59 XG all season.
No, and this is a game in which, in my opinion, for the most part, Solskjaer deserves immense credit. Like, I think the lineup was. I mean, there's one very interesting decision in that lineup, which is to play Matic rather than McTominay, and that's, I saw that and I was thinking, that's quite the shout. You lose quite a lot of energy, and you gain some. Potentially you gain some more incisive passing and some ability to turn defence into attack very quickly. And of course you gain a lot of experience. And Matic has displayed a real calm head in this recent uptick in good form, but was proved to be absolutely the right choice. And obviously playing the back three and the personnel decision in the back three to play Luke Shaw rather than Eric Bailly as the third centre-back. Like, all of that turned out really to be very good decisions. And it wasn't one of those games which we kind of criticised lots of managers for over the years, where you're just trying to soak up really dangerous pressure for really long stretches of time. Because, like you say, City's possession was, with a couple of specific exceptions, like the offside that was very narrow, was never really that threatening.
No, true. I mean, United made them play in front of that back five a lot. And so, yeah, the 72% looks like one of those weird Mourinho games, doesn't it? Although I don't think United were playing for not until the last 10 minutes were United playing for territory, just kicking it into the corner. And we did a little bit of that at the end. But when we had the possession, not much of it, it was an attempt to break. Played it into the channels for Dan James sometimes, tried to play it through midfield with limited success. Mostly came straight back at United, but just defended really, really well from far enough out that it didn't become overwhelming. So just another very good defensive performance from United against City, three this season.
Two really good periods of play, I thought, at the back end of the first half, and in fact, not far off leading up to the goal. There was a Sky Sports stat that flashed up at one point that was like, in the last 5 minutes, United had 80% possession or something like that. It was one period of play where United were really on top. And then they were right on the front foot at the beginning of the second half, which I thought was great. And really, really kind of, that was when the Aguero chance that, the goal that was not a goal, that's when that happened, because we did leave a little bit of space at the back, but it was worth it, I thought, to try and kind of get a bit of a foot on their neck effectively. So let's talk about the first goal. Bruno Fernandes with a fine piece of being fouled, definitely 100% being fouled and making his face react completely appropriately to the level of actual pain he was in.
Solid dive, that was, yeah. I mean, he's anticipated the challenge,
yeah,
as pundits like to say.
But I tell you what he really anticipated, and that was the movement of Anthony Martial. Just incredible, the two of them switched on, and to time it so that Martial was onside in the era of millimetre offsides was very, very, very impressive. Obviously,
and he was millimetres onside as well.
Exactly, yeah. And I thought that the scuffed finish into the bottom corner, I mean, scuffed is a strong word, the finish into the bottom corner made it. I mean, Ederson's got a lot of criticism, and he probably should. I don't know, I'm not a goalkeeper, but I feel he should save it. But it was where he wasn't expecting it quite quickly.
Sure. I think if Dave had done that, we'd be writing him off and calling for Hendo to be recalled. So, for a keeper of his quality, he's got to save that. He's just got to save that. It's a back pass, and he's dived over the top of it. It's a horrendous mistake.
I mean, it's not his kind of headline horrendous mistake of the day, though, is it?
2 errors leading to goal.
Yeah, I don't know if that
one.
one counts as an error leading to goal, failing to save that one at the near post. I don't know if that gets officially registered.
I think it will, because he's gone over the top of it. And I mean, I don't know actually who, like in the Opta stats, I don't know who scored have it.
As there you go.
But they don't take Opta stats famously. But yeah, we'll see.
I love the way you said famously. Then famously among a very specific subset of people.
Yeah, who complain about it loudly. The Bernie bros of the data sphere.
I'm trying to think of a word that's like bro that starts with O, and I'm not getting there. It was an excellent goal, and moments later, we 100% should have had a penalty. And maybe 100 is too strong, but
No, is there a number more than 100 that makes any kind of mathematical sense?
And the only thing that I could think was he was not fully in control of he'd already lost the ball when the contact comes in.
No, I'm not having that. It's close enough. It's close enough that it's so a penalty. And I haven't seen the explanation from the professional referee match, whatever, Pijamol. Yet about why that wasn't given. Maybe it's because they're setting this high bar for overturning the on-the-field decision. But it's just so bad. Yeah. That's clearly a penalty, and just rub salt in the wound that he's got a yellow card for that. Good job that didn't impact United later in the game. But yeah, a terrible decision, and VAR is there for that. It's there for that.
Yeah, and then the weird one with the Aguero thing, when it seemed to me like the referee had blown. And
yeah, which stops the game.
Yeah, so
it can't be given. It can't be given. The game has stopped. It is dead.
But there was like a proper check for disallowed goal, and they did all their stupid CAD drawing lines.
I know. I mean, look, if that had been given, if he was 2 inches the other way, or whatever it was that he was offside, I would be absolutely livid if I was the United manager, because I don't think De Gea's... He's heard the whistle. He's seen the flag. And he hasn't dived for it. He hasn't tried to stop it. He hasn't made any attempt to change Aguero's mind. Aguero may well be so relaxed that he's banged it in the top corner as well. So it's fundamentally changed that moment of action. You can't then go relitigate that.
I mean, the flag being up is fine. Like, that's, the flag is advisory, isn't it? But once the referee's blown his whistle, the ball's dead, I think. So anyway, but fortunately, Aguero's shoulder or armpit or whatever was offside. I mean, I have to say, it was a lot closer than it looked in real time. And United kind of got away with one there, but it would have been extraordinary. And I wouldn't have... I'm not saying they were wrong, but as far as I'd previously understood it, it would have looked very odd.
Yeah. And apart from that, City barely had it. There's the Raheem Sterling one. No, sorry. It was Sterling, wasn't it? And Riyad Mahrez played it into him sort of centrally late in the game, just after Mahrez had come on.
Oh, I thought
about 10 minutes ago.
I thought it was Gabby Jesus who kind of did a bit of a step over and did a shot from a narrow angle. I thought it was Jesus, but maybe it was Sterling. My bad if it was. But
that was about it for really good chances. United had their Anthony Martial chance as well, just after half time. And then a bunch of pot shots, as we always do, including one from about 45 yards from McSauce.
Yes! What a moment! Just so first of all, right, there's a number of things to say. One, which we'll come to in the questions, lots of questions about Ighalo. Absolutely sick touch from Ighalo in the build-up to that, and then Fred got his through ball wrong and trickled it to Ederson, but Ighalo deserves an assist for that touch. Then Ederson throws it out, and you can see it gets stuck in his hand. It's like a spin bowler. Joe Root did it in the South Africa series. He just bowled a bouncer, which I think he might slightly do it on purpose. But anyway, so when a spin bowler gets it very badly wrong and it bounces before halfway down the pitch, and it went straight to McTominay, whose anticipation was good. Like, he saw that was possible, and I mean, I think it probably helped that United were 1-0 up and it was the literal 96th minute, but an absolutely fantastic Beckham-esque first time hit.
Yeah, the funny thing is, given the XG model takes into account all of that, it's 40 odd yards out, but it's still 0.15 XG.
It's quite high, isn't it, for a 40 yard?
It's quite high for a shot from that far out.
Yeah, but brilliant, just brilliant, and a wonderful, glorious moment. Few other talking points in that game. Martial, have you seen the dent in his leg? That the post took a full chunk out of it. It's very upsetting. I regretted seeing that.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
He was man of the match today. I thought he was absolutely excellent for the most part. And there was one moment where I properly yelled at him, like, "Pass it, Tony, mate," because Fernandes was unmarked. But even that was superseded by the "What are you doing?" at Dan James, when Dan James had the shot from what I think was a tighter angle in a worse game state with Fernandes in a better position. And James just clearly had not got his head up at all.
He had not got his head up. I mean, Martial, I'm sure, saw Fernandes and was just greedy. He thought he could put it into that far corner. And fair play, that is his favourite move.
Yep.
And you'd expect better than a back pass to the keeper.
Yep.
But Dan James, absolutely criminal.
Yeah, properly.
And I think on both occasions, Fernandes kept his cool and didn't have a go at his teammates too much. It's probably
there was a
coming,
bit of flappy arms. Bit of flappy arms. There was a little bit of flappy arms. And rightly so. This was fully deserved flappy arms.
Fernandes' interesting performance today because he didn't get the ball very much. And as a result, couldn't do much with it. But I thought he did the defensive part pretty well. He's got good energy and he got about and he defended from the front. And there were times when United had City rattled in their defensive third and were pressing from the front pretty well. I mean, it was obviously the game plan. Game plan was there to see, right? Soak up the pressure, try and keep them in front of you, try and win it back high up the pitch. A very simple game plan, and one that has worked sporadically against City, or against Pep, I should say, in exactly this type of game with these kind of stats for the last 15 years. So
Yeah. Thank you, Jose. Sorry about all the mean things I have said in the past and will continue to say in the future about you. First time I was told today, if this stat is incorrect, blame my old boss, who I have to listen to because he used to be my boss. First time we've done the league double over City since 2009-10.
yes, apparently so.
That's an incredible statistic. And both games, Solskjaer...
what has happened in those intervening years? I mean, could it have been billions and billions of pounds of sovereign wealth pumped into one of these clubs or something like that?
Yes, and billions taken out of the other one in a nice, neat overlap. But the point being, like, Solskjaer, I think, deserves genuine credit. And I do think I've been immensely critical of some aspects of his performance over the season. And I don't at any point think that's been unfair. There are definitely people who do think it is, but, can't please everyone, can you? But ultimately... this good run of form, which we've broken down a number of times, has contained within it some real peaks. And this thing about a couple of key signs where since Fernandes has come, the attack looks like it's got half an idea of what it's doing. The defence really does look very, very, very solid, very well organised in both systems. There's very clear understanding, and they play very well together, and there's some good solid individual performers in that group. We look much less ropey from defensive set pieces. That game against Everton was real evidence of that. There was a number of times today as well where I think we conceded a good few corners today and didn't look in any real trouble from any of them. So, there are real positive things afoot. Now, whether he's got enough about him to navigate these waters, whether, this kind of real long-term plan will be executed successfully, you would just love to see it, wouldn't you,
Sure. Look, we've been in a good run of form before and it all collapsed. So I'm not counting any chickens, but I think all that analysis is perfectly fair. They did defend set pieces well again today. I think City had 12 corners, if I'm right.
Right, there you go.
Which is a lot, and they defended well against Everton. They've given very few chances away today, albeit in a specific system for this game, but one perfectly suited to this game. And in other games, since Fernandes arrived, we have looked more functioning as an attacking unit. Having a creative player in there really does help. And then there's certainly going to be games where we will want more than one creative player. Definitely, and Paul Pogba's return would be very nice.
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
for these last few games of the season and potential Europa League run, we're gonna come and talk about the LASK game shortly. But I've got a great chance in that tournament to go very, very far now, and so look, signs are pointing upwards.
There was one moment where I went full, not quite full Ole out, but a proper head in hands moment when he took Martial off, that double substitution, and took off Williams, brought Bailly on, completely understandable. But then he took Martial off and brought on McTominay and played Fernandes basically as a false nine. And that just felt like a terrible mistake given the amount of impetus it would surrender. Not that Martial needed to come off, he was tired, but it actually, I think Solskjaer corrected that fairly quickly when he brought Ighalo on, and it was
still 10 minutes of just desperate defending. That's what I was saying. United hadn't resorted to just booting it into the corners until that moment. And I think that was an error. I think it was just too defensive. And Ighalo came on and gave United I mean, he only played 6 minutes, but he gave United a point of attack, didn't he? And he did very well, and he was very neat with his play with his back to goal and just bringing others into play and played a role in the second goal, as you say. So he did correct his mistake, but it was a mistake to make that change.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought during the watching of this game, which is a thought I've had before, but I don't think ever said out loud. It doesn't really need to be said out loud, but hey, here we are. Fred is really good at standing up very quickly after he falls over, which is not easy to do. When you fall over, like, if I fall over, I'm down. It's taking a while for me to get back up.
You go down hard. And on the field of play too.
Come on. It's a family show.
It's definitely not.
Fred pops right back up. He's like, he just hits the deck quite often. He falls over quite a lot. Maybe that's why he's so good at getting up. But time after time, he's quite good also at, like, when he does fall over, tackling someone when he's fallen over and then immediately getting back up. So, yeah, Fred, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That's my final thought on us beating City 2-0 in the derby. I guess final thought would be a bit of context, having said last week that this game doesn't really matter. Or at least it's not a £100 million 1v1 clash, winner takes all, or whatever it was you said.
Oh, come on. We're going to play that back. I'm going to cut it out and send it to you every 5 minutes in the middle of the night.
I know that you did not say that really, Ed. But actually, with Chelsea winning 4-0 today, it was super important. It became super important just to kind of, well, like a massive, massive bonus to win this game. And they will be sick as a parrot to only be 3 points ahead.
Sick as a parrot.
After opening up.
We started the day behind Wolves and Sheffield United. So it's not just us chasing Chelsea. I mean, Sheffield United are in great form. So Wolves, they're coming good just at the right time of season. They've got the Europa League as well, of course. Dean Henderson not letting in any goals, 10 clean sheets in the league this season. You and I swapped a few messages about David De Gea versus Hendo stats this week. Always quite hard to analyse goalkeepers, but I mean, a good reason to think that Hendo is overperforming the league average by about the same amount that David De Gea is underperforming the league average. And, so it's tight at the top. And we've got some real competitors, and maybe Chelsea are finding form at just the wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one win. So, they're on a one-win winning streak. Good luck to them. Oh, did they win in the FA Cup? I think they did, didn't they? Oh, yeah, they beat Liverpool 2-0 and then Everton 4-0. All right, yeah, that counts as form. Here's hoping that they stuff it up and lose to Villa next weekend.
I mean, Leicester are in 1 win in 5 in the league. And two losses in a row, and they might be looking over their shoulders now.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because their form is loss, draw, win. So it's a long time since they've won a league game, and the thing is they had opened up such a substantial lead that they're still a couple of points above Chelsea, 5 points above us. But like you say, they're
and a game in hand.
Right.
But we do play them on the last day. There you go.
Yeah, to see if we can overtake them for third place with Ighalo scoring his 15th league goal.
Sure. Anyway, shall we take a brief break and come back with the good folks of Twitter and Instagram?
Let's do it.
We're never going to take a question on Facebook, ever. It's a devil's platform. But we'll be back shortly.
We hope you're enjoying the No Question About That podcast. We are open for sponsorship, so if you run the kind of business that would be interested in sponsoring our show, just drop us an email at nqatpod@gmail.com.
That's one of the most stupid questions I've ever heard in my life. It tests my patience.
All right, first question from Sir Thoppus on Instagram. Is Wayne Rooney handsome, or is his beard doing the heavy lifting?
Very, very heavy lifting. Very.
It is an unbelievable beard, Wayne Rooney's beard. It is proper Viking god levels. Considering how thin his pretend hair is on top, the sheer thickness of his beard, it must be annoying if you kind of like, you're like, why can't this just be a few inches higher and be actual hair? Anyway.
Yeah.
Good beard.
Solid.
But he's Wayne...
Solid analysis
Wayne
there.
Rooney is not handsome. He's just quite specific looking.
I do like it that he looks exactly like he did in that advert for Nike
Yeah.
many years ago, where in the advert he'd ruined his career and he was living in a caravan somewhere.
Yeah. And he has grown that actual beard in real life. It's good. Well,
It's very
his
good.
beard, that advert did not predict the sheer resplendent lusciousness of his beard, to be fair.
Kevin Livingston says, current run of form, improved results, symptomatic of an improvement from Ollie or an outlier, or based on the fact that we've got a brilliant new player?
Well, how about it's all three of those things mixed together? Ollie's getting some stuff right he wasn't getting right in the past. Bruno coming along has made an enormous difference, and a couple of these results have probably been a little anomalous. I'd say it's probably a bit of all of those three things. And if I had to pick one, if I had to rank those in order, I would say it's Bruno, improvements in Ole, outlier third. That'd be what I'd say.
All right.
That James boy saying, is McTominay a long-term club captain? Also, how ace was that for? Question marks. Very, very, very ace. 5 exclamation marks. The McTominay went up to the game. They were all doing hugs and stuff after the game. And McTominay went up to Maguire and like gave him quite a sort of respectful, somewhat distant, not like cold or anything, but there was a slight distance. And I was like, yeah, he's coming for you, kid. He's coming for you. I'm sure he will captain the club at least a handful of times in his time.
I'm sure he will. I mean, Maguire's 27 today, or yesterday, was it? So it looks like he's got that locked for a long time, but McSaucer's got all the qualities.
Yeah.
I think he's come through the academy. He's clearly a leader, loves it, and he likes to boss people around, which, is key captain material or something like that. Connor says, when Bruno hugged Tony, didn't it feel like everything in life was going to be okay?
Yeah, it kind of did.
No, we're dying of a pandemic. Your eyeballs are going to bleed out of every other orifice in your body. It's the end. And just on a minor, it's probably not the end. It's probably not the end. But if it is going to be the end, if it's not the end quick enough to stop Liverpool winning the title, because they only need one more win now, at least let them have to lift the trophy in an empty stadium.
I think
Please.
it's 2. So we've got a chance. Not only did that make everything all right, but the photo of Marcus Rashford, Santan Dave and Jofra Archer watching the game together made my little heart real happy. Lovely to...
Santan Dave, by the way, I mean, we can't leave that without calling out. This is the man who said he wouldn't watch United again while Ollie was in charge. He just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't say he wouldn't watch. He said he wasn't going to be talking about it on Twitter. I don't know whether that has happened or not. But yeah, absolutely lovely scenes. I wonder if Jofra's like, do you know what? It's kind of worth not being in Sri Lanka for this. Who has the better touch? Asks Doug_McIntyre. Igalo or Berbatov?
I know, it's definitely Berber, but Igalo showed some very nice touches today. Very nice.
Yeah, and I have to say, lots of things wrong with the Igalo signing. The sheer blissful joy of him and his experience is definitely like not one of them. Like his reaction to the goal at the end, like he was doing massive crazy waving. You could see he wanted to jump in the Stretford end. Really kind of special moment.
Sasha Kaura says, can Paul build a Lego replica of Bruno's gesture towards Pep, please? Please.
Yeah, we had a question here as well from Yip Yap Dan saying, what do you think Pep and Bruno were discussing? Maybe it was Lego. Or maybe Pep was like, yeah, fair enough, you're winning, but that beard is what's doing the heavy lifting. And then Bruno give him the shush for that.
Pep's just jealous that he's not as hirsute.
Yes, possibly so. Pep, by the way, like, why? I've never understood this. Why would anyone stand on a touchline in Manchester March rain especially with no hair, and that's not me making fun of him. I just mean literally, especially with that, without a coat on. Well, if that was me, I would be like, zipped up, hood up, like scarf all wrapped round, gloves. I don't think it makes your brain work better to be that cold.
No.
Maybe it does.
I have no idea. I mean, maybe it's like a computer in there and it needs cooling down in order to work smoothly.
Possibly. Quite possibly.
The other Bundesliga says, do you guys think there'll be heavy rotation for the game against LASK? Are you expecting to win both legs comfortably? We'll come to that one. Yes, totally. We're going to smash them. I didn't know the Austrian league was the other Bundesliga, but that makes sense now.
Yeah. Nakul Kaka says, was that McTominay goal your favourite goal of the post-Fergie era? And I have to say that is a classic of the genre of questions written within 30 seconds of a goal going in. Because, like, in that 30 seconds, absolutely unquestionably, with the cool light of 4 hours worth of hindsight, I'd say it might crack the top 10.
Yeah. I mean, it was just the other day was the 1 year anniversary of Paris.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And of course, as I always talk about, Martial in the FA Cup semi-final. There's been a lot of really good ones. Juanfield was after the Ferguson era. But yeah, it was extremely enjoyable. And like I said, it was the kind of it substantially added to the feel-good factor of this game. If the referee had blown his whistle while Edison had the ball in his hands before he threw it out, everyone would have been absolutely buzzing and delighted with the win and all that kind of stuff. But it ratcheted it up to another level, and there's something to be said for that. And it'll ratchet up the confidence to another level as well. And that, given where we are in the season, the fact that United are going into this phase of the season massively confident, it's a big deal.
Of course, yes, big deal. Messi Goat Messi on Twitter.
It's a big Ronaldo fan, yeah?
I was going to say, Ronaldo, bigger than Messi. Has the recent form...
No, what? What? That is not the official position of this podcast.
Bruno's bigger than both. Is that the official position? Anyway,
yes.
Has the recent form of Matic justified his contract extension? I have to say, saw this, and obviously never been a huge fan of Matic.
Oh, really?
Really, because I think his legs went about 4 years ago, and as a result, he's a bit of a liability. He's been in very good form for the last 6 weeks, undoubtedly, and he played a very important role today. I look at this and I worry a little bit that it says that United are still in this mode of they can probably only do 3 deals this summer, and one of them isn't going to be another midfielder. And if Pogba is going, that makes me worried.
I mean, or one of them isn't going to be 2 midfielders, effectively. Like, that we're not going to get those numbers. I mean, so on a very different note, at Charl Arnaldo says, no question, would just appreciate some Igalo love for his part in that incredible goal. And yeah, it was that question that reminded me that I wanted to talk about that when I did earlier. It was a lovely, lovely touch. And just generally speaking, I think he does deserve quite a lot of appreciation for, he's not like some unbelievable world beater, but I don't think there's going to be anyone, if he does leave after 6 months, I think everyone is going to look back at this with a tremendous amount of fondness. And that like any time he's anywhere near Old Trafford, he's having his name sung to the rafters and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't take much to be massively appreciated by United fans, I think.
No, that's right. Henrik Larsson scored 4 goals in his time with us, and he's loved 20 years later. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, shall we? You got another one?
I got a couple more. I like this one, which just says your opinions on another well-organised defensive display, Jack Brindley 1990. And I do think that has been the one sort of consistent hallmark of this particular run of form. I said earlier this season in a group chat that I'm in with some friends that, for all the flaws of Ollie, this season. We look miles better defensively organised than we had done under Mourinho. And then in that game that I said that, about 5 minutes later we conceded, and then we conceded again, and then we went through like months of being incredibly sloppy, and they keep making fun of me and being like, oh, do we look defensively organised yet? And now I just want to say, yes, we do look defensively organised. So yeah. And then we just had another number of questions about this is the last one that I'll leave us with. Danny.J.1 saying, where do we put the Ighalo statue, and will Lego update their Old Trafford model to show it?
Well, you can add it to your own. Get yourself a minifigure, build yourself one.
Yeah, that's true. Although the scale, I mean, that would imply that not only are we building a statue of Ighalo, but we're building a giant-sized statue of Ighalo at Old Trafford, and I'm all for it.
50 foot tall.
Yeah, should we take a little break and then come back and talk about an Austrian team that neither of us have ever seen play?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about you, because I was an expert on Erling Braut Haaland, like everyone else on the internet, because I've been watching Austrian League football every week. You haven't heard of Linzer Athletic Sport Club?
Well, genuinely, as I mentioned, when the draw was made, or even before the draw was made, literally never heard of them. Now, I have to say, I was looking down the Bundesliga table to a lot of teams that are under the Austrian Bundesliga, obviously, that are under LASK, and I've heard of all of them, down to, I think, probably sixth place. There's a team called Hartberg that I'm not familiar with, but obviously like Red Bull Salzburg in second, the Rapid Vienna.
Hartberg, who had just lost to our next opponents, 5-1 at the weekend.
There you go. Wolfsburg, not those ones. And then SK Sturm Graz, which is a name that once you hear, you can never forget. But yeah, they are top of the Bundesliga. They don't score a phenomenal amount of goals, but they hardly concede any. They've scored a lot of goals in that recent game, but Red Bull, probably largely thanks to the fact that they had Erling Braut Haaland, have scored 74 goals this season. Very, very much an outlier. In fact, sorry, I made a mistake, because LASK have scored the joint second most number of goals. It's just 24 goals behind the team that Erling Braut Haaland played for.
There you go. Yeah, so they interesting history, this club. I mean, I obviously didn't know anything about them, as demonstrated on the pod a couple of weeks ago when I was like, who are they? When the draw came out. They not that many years ago were in the second division, so 5 or 6 years ago, and although they're not some kind of new club that suddenly found money, they've been around for 110 years. A few years ago they merged with another club from Linz, which somehow there's been some kind of falling out between the merged parties, so LASK's logo has gone from having LASK Linz underneath it to just LASK again. I don't know whether we're supposed to call them LASK, but since it is actually an acronym, or LASK.
I think they get,
or who cares?
They do get called. They definitely get called LASK. But, I didn't know that before, but I LASKed someone.
You LASKed someone. Ugh.
Sorry, everyone. I don't have anything useful to contribute to this conversation, so I thought I'd make the worst wordplay I've ever made on this show, and that's like up against some quite serious competition.
Yeah, we won't be playing at the Waldstadion, which is only 6,009. Very specific attendance capacity there is 6,009. But we'll be playing at the 14,000 Linzer Stadion, which they will be moving back to after refurbishment on a permanent basis. But there will be 14,000 people there at the very small ground, a while since United have been played at a ground of that size in European football. Should be interesting. Their manager is Valerian Ismail.
Yeah.
Never heard of him, but he played for Crystal Palace in the late 90s.
Yeah, I was sure the name rang a bell when I saw it, and he played for the French youth teams, but I don't think he played senior international. And for them, because he tried to represent Germany, but was rejected by the German Football Federation for there not being enough connection to Germany. But he played in Bremen, and he played for Bayern Munich for a couple of seasons. So and he's had a pretty, like, considering he's fairly young. I mean, he's your age, Ed. He managed big grown-up Wolfsburg, other Wolfsburg, the one with a U, the German one, and previously managed Hanover, FC Nuremberg. So, you know, he's got some Bundesliga chops as a manager, and he's clearly doing a phenomenal job at LASK because they're keeping off the financial might of Red Bull. I bet they were so happy when Haaland left that league. Like, given the differential in number of goals scored by the top clubs in that division, they must have been absolutely buzzing when Haaland signed for Dortmund.
The boy Haaland, whose striking rate is dipped somewhat. He's not scoring 4 goals a game.
Unsustainable. Rubbish. Fraud. Eric Fraud Haaland, more like.
Oh, yeah, you stick it to him. Anyway, so what kind of team are we going to see? Because we've seen heavy rotation in pretty much every Europa League game so far. This is a club we'd expect to beat over 2 legs. I imagine we're going to see more rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we just assume that we're going to beat the team that's kind of like somewhat comfortably top of the Austrian league. I don't know where that stands in the ranking of league tables. I know it's obviously not one of the proper big boys, but, you know, I can't imagine they're going to be an absolute pushover in the way that, like, 10-man Bruges were, for example. But I wonder whether he'll do something very similar to what he did against Bruges and play a very, very weakened team in that away leg, especially with a view to what is a massive, massive game against Tottenham away at the weekend, which follows this. So you'd think that Solskjaer would be full of confidence about United's ability to deal with Mourinho's, like, dying swan Tottenham, like coughing and spluttering into oblivion with every passing minute. So, but he's going to want his best talents fresh for that. I guess we're going to see Ighalo up front. I guess we'll see Greenwood start. I wonder if we'll see a bit of Pereira and Lingard action. Certainly one of the two of them, I imagine, will play.
Could well do, yeah. I mean, I think as much as we said would be the team against Derby, it's probably likely to be a little stronger at the back than up front, or at least quite a lot of changes. I'm sure Greenwood and Ighalo have got a very good chance of starting. Pereira, Mata and Lingard, probably not all of them, will all get a shout somewhere. Against Derby, none of the kids got within a sight of the squad, so neither Chong or Gomez, which is a shame because we'd like to see them. They have played in this competition. I wonder whether it just gets a bit more serious now that we're in sight of the big prize. And it's squad rotation, 5 or 6 changes, something like that.
Yeah. It's going to be. I think this game. I'd be just to say, like, I know I predicted a loss against Man City, and I think that we're going to beat Spurs. So this is not like just rampant negativity, but I do think if we play a heavily rotated side, this one could be bit of a Thursday afternoon slog, as many of our away trips in the Europa League have been this season. I can't think of one that was been particularly enjoyable, with the potential exception of a game we actually lost when we played all the kids against Astana, which was quite enjoyable to watch.
True. So 538 has their LASK's SPI ranking at 68, which is about, 15th or 16th in the Premier League in terms of standing.
Right, so
They, as I said, they lost to Club Bruges, but beat AZ Alkmaar, 2 teams we're familiar with. So it's, we know where they are in terms of standard. United should win this one.
But, like, if we were playing the 13th or 14th best team in the Premier League away from home with a heavily rotated side, I'm not sure we'd be like super pumped about that, would we? So
no. Over 2 legs, I'd be absolutely shocked if United don't go through.
Okay.
And, anyway, you got a prediction for this one?
I think it's going to be a tough and probably slightly dull 1-1 draw, with the fireworks being saved for the weekend. This is going to be very much an aperitif to the main event of football coming up this week.
The game against Spurs will be a 0.1 versus 0.12 XG, low block versus low block. Unstoppable force versus... No, it's more like the immovable object versus the immovable object.
I mean, as long as it ends with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer patting Jose Mourinho on the head again, I'm going to be perfectly happy with that.
That was sweet. Anyway, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to United in this game for no other reason than just to change it up. Because, I never predict a United win.
Okay, great. I'm kind of looking forward to it, or at least I'm looking forward to the 15 minutes of the beginning and the end of it that I'll be able to watch around work. But afterwards, I'm hoping that you'll be able to explain to me what happened in some detail as we record a show on the Thursday, pretty much straight after that game to come out on the Friday. Patreon backers, stay tuned for some content which we recorded last night, so I already know that you are in store for a lot of admin chat. There is an awful lot of international football admin coming up in the next 25 minutes of your life. But
you're supposed to sell it so they listen.
Hopefully it was kind of a fun chat about the Nations League and the World Cup and all the kind of permutations and implications of all of that sort of stuff. Everyone else will see you on Friday. And until then, obviously, bask in the absolute glory of Man United stuffing City once again. It's just too easy at this point, isn't it?
So, can we play you every week? Sadly, we can't, but enjoy it.
And we'll see you Friday.
Bye now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.